Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Thanks for tuning into the second episode of SYSTRA's Connected Careers podcast, looking into the fantastic careers of our degree apprentices. I'm Morgan Coates, and I'm a graduate engineer and technical coordinator on HS2, so I make sure these beautiful studios keep the lights on whilst we're constructing the project. I've got Alex Woods here today.
Hello.
And he's here to talk to us about his degree apprenticeship.
Yes, yeah.
Tell us about what team are you in, how did you get here, what you want.
Yeah, so I am in the engineering side of SYSTRA. I'm in the track team, so we focus on track design using different modelling software, so obviously CAD, MicroStation, Bentley Railtrack, all of that side of things. So I think that was when I first went into sixth form. I had a real passion for sort of maths and engineering, all that side of things. And I always knew in my head that engineering was something that I wanted to go into. I didn't I didn't wake up one day and think, I wanted to be a track engineer.
You didn't wake up thinking, that's the thing. That's what I want for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but I definitely did want to go down the engineering route, stuff with, mechanics. Yeah. And then this apprenticeship cropped up and it was sort of everything I wanted. Yeah.
Oh, so, nice, yeah. Nice. What did you study at A-level? What was your A-levels in?
So I did physics, maths and geography.
Okay.
And then I did an AS in politics. I'm not too sure what it was based around politics, but yeah. The three
probably politics. It clearly made an impact. So
yeah. That was only for a year though, so yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Okay. So I'm sitting here and I'm kind of thinking track is two I-beams stuck to a piece of concrete.
Right, yeah.
What do you actually do?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose at the end of the day it is, but no. Yeah, so, we'll get a bid for a project in and then that work will be assigned to us. And then from there, depending on what stage of the project we're at, so it could be whether we're displaying options to the client of what design we could go for, it'll be a case of taking so maybe like if the rail track's already there, we'll have all of the information from that and all of the data we need. And then we can go into Bentley Railtrack or MicroStation or one of these modelling softwares. And, either if we need to design a new route, we can go with that. If the track needs recanting, which is tilting the track either way.
Yeah. Why would you do that? Just so?
It's for the comfort of the passengers. So you need to make sure that the cant is perfect so that when you go in, you're not rocking back and forth and you've got a smooth, comfortable journey.
And you're wandering down the train with your overpriced latte, you don't go flying out the window.
I know, yeah. That nearly happened on the way here, actually. So, yeah.
Nice, okay. So you did your A-levels, you came to that sort of crossroads.
Yeah. How
was looking for an apprenticeship? Because obviously it's a sort of a maze of different options.
Yeah.
Especially I was really stressed at that time of my life.
Yeah.
How did you navigate that?
Yeah, I think we got to doing the mock exams for A-levels, and that was around October, November time when I just started year 13.
Yeah.
And then it got to January and the first sort of level 3 to 6 apprenticeships started popping up on the gov.uk website.
Yeah.
And then, so it was a big focus push from my sixth form, actually, that it was either you should be getting your uni applications ready or getting the degree apprenticeship applications in. So we had a lot of guidance there, which was obviously a good help. And then so started putting some applications in. And then the apprenticeship week came in February, so got the opportunity.
So pretty quick turnaround then.
Yeah.
If you were sort of starting in January, and then you're going to SYSTRA to do sort of interviews?
No, that was just when I started putting some applications in, but it wasn't until after I'd done my A-levels until I saw the SYSTRA one on the government apprenticeship page. So I think I'm not too sure if I'd just missed it or if it had been put on around that time, sort of June time. So once I'd done my A-levels, I was still looking for apprenticeships. I'd had, interviews elsewhere for both engineering, project management. Those are my two sort of pathways that I wanted to go down. And then the SYSTRA one cropped up, put my application in. I got the call from someone in HR to say, I've been picked for an interview. Went for my interview, and then I think it was within about 3 weeks I'd been confirmed that I've got the job. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then from there it was just a process of, because it's a degree apprenticeship, so you're still going to uni.
Yeah.
So you still need to put your university application in, you still need to get onto the course. It was just a case of waiting for my A-level results to come through to make sure that I had the UCAS points to get onto the uni course, as well as, so I was, able to do the apprenticeship.
Yeah. So it was kind of, you still had that conditionality, the same as a university course.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Standard is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I mean, that's a little bit, to be honest, I thought you had to do your applications like in sort of October time. But I didn't realize you could take that on quite so late.
Yeah.
And still, be perfectly happy. But it sounds like, were you pretty dedicated to doing an apprenticeship?
Yeah.
Did you not really apply to universities?
No, I didn't apply for it. So I was recommended by any sixth form that you go to get your university applications in, but I was so dead set on doing a degree apprenticeship that that was all my time was just going to them. So it was, putting the applications in.
Yeah.
If it got through, then I'd know I was doing something right there. If it didn't, then what can we improve on from the last one? And then from about January to July, I was still putting them out there. So yeah, it's quite a long process getting them, and there is going to be a lot of, you're going to get turned away from a lot of companies, but at the end of the day, it's being resilient and understanding that if it's right for you, then it's meant for you.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I mean, it's definitely a process that whatever stage in your career, you'll have to go through at some point. This, when I finished my degree, I got rejections from loads of different companies.
Yeah.
When I put in my sort of applications and stuff. And I think there's not much point, if you don't really want that university experience, if you're kind of okay with that, if you want to get into work, you want to get your teeth in, then having that experience quite so early in your career is really going to help you progress instead of being on the sort of hold.
I do think the only thing with that is I'm still getting the university experience, so I go down on block release, which is from Monday to Thursday, and that's sort of, there's no real pattern for it. We just sort of get the timetable at the start of the academic year. So in September, then I'll know, I'm there for a week in.
How often is that?
There's no real pattern to so it could be I might be there for a week in September, then 2 weeks in October, then I might not be there in November, then I had my last one in October, and then I'm not back until January. But for those 4 days, obviously you're studying, you might be starting your coursework that you get set that week, but you still got the opportunity to, live that student life. Especially I go to university in Sheffield, Sheffield Hallam, and you do get close with your course mates, because I mean you're staying over there for the 4 days, so you still have the opportunity to go and explore the Sheffield nightlife or whatever you want to do, as long as you get back for the lectures the next day. But you do still get that student experience, just minus the debt that you come out with, which I think is a massive plus.
I mean, building up that community around yourself is obviously a really important part of university.
Definitely.
I think it's probably the most valuable bit of university for me. Was building up that network of
the social aspects.
Other engineers, but also I've got sort of lots of friends from university. But if you're able to do that, you probably cast a wider net. Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of apprentices come from sort of across, presumably sort of the North and Yorkshire into Sheffield to study. So that's a really good way to build up that network really effectively with people who are really dedicated to their job.
I think in terms of where everyone's coming from on my course, it's so spread over the UK. So we've got some people coming from down south in London, from offices down there that come up, and then obviously for SYSTRA, I think some of the apprentices went to different unis depending on where they were in the country.
Yeah.
And obviously depending on what the course is. So I know if you go to Salford that are in the Manchester office that are on day release, or I'm sure one in Leeds around there.
Even in civil engineering, there's multiple different training providers.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
There were people at the University of West of England, Warwick.
Yeah.
There were some people in Salford, like you said.
Right, yeah.
Sheffield, which again is another complication of apprenticeships themselves.
Yeah.
Is unlike university where you apply and you are totally certain what you're sort of getting.
Yeah.
You can have an employer put you into a university somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. But I mean, especially with civil engineering, all of the degrees are moderated by the Joint Board of Moderators. So my degree from Coventry is going to be very similar to your degree in Sheffield, or Warwick, or Leeds. Those are all externally checked. Which isn't the same for all degrees. But because they're engineering based and sort of technical. It's obviously important to have some consistency.
Yeah. I think it depends on obviously what discipline you go into as well. So my course is specifically railway engineering, and then the first 2 years, year and a half, so from when I started in September up until about now, it was a higher level than A-level physics and maths, but it was very broad. You weren't really cracking down on specifically railway engineering yet, but because I'm in the track team, there was a list of routes you can go down.
Yeah.
So in January, I go into specifically the track part of the degree, and it'll be like that for the next 3 to 4 years. So I'll be focusing on what I actually work on. So that's when it starts coming into your, benefiting when you work. So
definitely. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in university courses that you won't necessarily use.
And
obviously that specialization is handy on one respect. I know when I was applying for degrees and apprenticeships and stuff, I was a bit wary of that specialization. I wondered if it would limit me further down the line. I don't know if you feel that way at all.
I do understand that. And obviously when you do something like civil, I think it's a lot broader and that you can go into a lot more things, but because track engineering is such a niche discipline. But I do think what you learn in track, you can go and take it elsewhere. And especially within SYSTRA, I think there are opportunities to go and work in other disciplines. I think you can go on rotation. So I'm sure if I asked to, I could go and work in a track in a civils team for a few months, or go into drainage or into structures or anything like that. So I do think in the long run, what you learn within the specialization of your discipline, I think you can use it elsewhere.
No, that's cool. Do you find, obviously with rotations and stuff, and that is all part of a program of apprenticeship support, how do you find that at SYSTRA? What do you actually like about it?
Is that so just support at SYSTRA?
Yeah.
I think the support is really good on the apprenticeships. I think I've been assigned a buddy, which sort of helps me with anything university-wise. So whether it's my APR, which is just a review, I think it's every 3 months or so, anything like that, going through my off-the-job training, which is just anything it could be if I'm studying outside of work, or if I do any CPD that's outside of work hours, I can log that for off the job, and that goes towards my EPA, which is my endpoint assessment at the end of the degree apprenticeship, which gets me the professional registration. I think it's IEng.
So you'll be an incorporated engineer when you leave. Which we talked about in the last episode, but that's obviously a massive advantage on someone like a traditional graduate like me, where I've got another 4 years of work experience effectively before I become a chartered engineer. So it's obviously, that's a key advantage other than just the monetary thing. That's obviously really important.
I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from degree apprenticeships, is that when you're competing for another job and you're going up against people who have gone to university for 3 years and they've come out with the degree, you're there with your IEng, the degree, and then 4 to 5 years of experience working in that field. You're going to be far ahead of everyone else going for the same job.
You won't even be you won't be applying for the same job.
Yeah.
You'll be further up in your
Yeah.
career, right?
Yeah.
You'll be applying for an assistant engineer role, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe, as a standard engineer.
Yeah.
Assuming you're not leaving SYSTRA.
No, yeah. No, I'll be staying. I think that's another great thing with degree apprenticeships is the job security at the end.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you complete the apprenticeship, go through with it all, you're pretty much guaranteed a job at the end of it, seeing as everything goes well. So,
Yeah.
I think that's a good advantage of them.
No, I mean, even for employers, apprentices they're not the value option.
Yeah, no.
Right? There is some government support out there,
Yeah.
but they're still going to be investing in the region of £100,000 in your sort of training,
Yeah.
wages, and all those associated costs.
Yeah.
So the support that they give you is obviously, it's because you're valuable. It's not
Yeah.
because you're sort of, a charity cause.
Yeah. I mean, they put enough trust in us to, when we go to uni, the travel's paid for, and then because I stay overnight, I get my hotel paid for. You get a budget for food, drink, everything, and then that's all funded by SYSTRA. Yeah.
Only soft drinks, though.
Yeah. Only soft drinks. Yeah. And you're not allowed chewing gum either. You're not allowed to expense chewing gum. I found that
out. Oh dear.
Yeah.
How do you find? Obviously, you've got a full-time role, and you're doing your degree.
Yeah.
Like balancing those two is a challenge. I know. I did my masters. I worked part-time during my masters, and that was difficult.
Yeah.
I can't imagine I was only doing 1 day a week, let alone 4.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that? How do you find that?
It's doable, and it's not an easy route to do a degree apprenticeship. It's not just going to be like a walk in the park when you do it, but you'll be getting, I've just submitted coursework yesterday that I've been working on for the past few months.
What was it about?
I was about 11 questions and then a section B that I needed to do. They were all different disciplines. So there was a track one, so obviously that was good, but then there was like drainage, structures, materials, all of it. So
yeah,
that was fun. I mean, obviously the advantage of that is I'm learning about other disciplines, but I mean, I'm just thinking, let me just crack on with the track one and call it a day. But yeah, I think the support from SYSTRA is there, obviously, because you're in that team of like-minded engineers and you've got people with, 30 years experience, or in my office, there'll be engineers from other disciplines in there that I can go and ask questions about the coursework. So that there's help there, but you will have to dedicate some of your own time to it.
Yeah, definitely.
But I wouldn't exactly call it homework or anything like that. But especially, I like to do it when I go to uni on block release. So for those 4 days, when I've got free time between my lectures, I'll just crack on with some coursework then. And obviously, your mind's fresh to it all as well. So yeah,
you still know what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, you're awake. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, that's fair enough. And I suppose that kind of work attitude, that's come from being employed, right? Presumably that isn't something you learn like by osmosis.
Yeah.
I know my student routine was not like that. So.
Yeah. I think, that it does teach you discipline, especially working in a professional environment. I'm a year and a bit in now, and you need to learn, you sort of pick time management skills up, and especially with working on so many different projects within the team, you're juggling a lot of things at once. So it's finding the time and prioritizing everything. So what project do I need to get done first? Oh, this one. Oh, no, this one's just become priority. This needs to go out today.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. And then that sort of teaches you the skills to be able to say, oh, I'll put this time away to do my coursework today. I can get maybe 2 hours done of productive time, and maybe half an hour of sat on your phone. But
it is really important to build up that kind of resilience to kind of defend your time as well.
Oh yeah.
When you're at work, even at uni, there's so many different asks.
Yeah.
And as long as you've got the support to do that, I think it's definitely going to be valuable.
Yeah.
I guess there's a question we're asking everyone today, and is it, have you ever been sent on the coffee run?
No, I don't drink coffee, actually. So luckily, I've We do have quite a nice coffee machine in the Manchester office, but yeah, no, I've never been sat on a coffee run yet. No,
Not yet. No, not for the tartan paint or sky
yeah.
hit. So.
I have been sent on the biscuits run though. I've had to nip to M&S and get a big box of biscuits for one of the meetings, but yeah, nothing. Yeah,
nothing disastrous.
Yeah.
Oh well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well. I'd also like to thank the York and North Yorkshire Combined Authority, who we've been working with to produce the Connected Careers podcast. As part of the authority's Cornerstone Employer Group, we work together to promote careers education for young people, including transitioning into further and higher education, employment or training. At SYSTRA, we want to help people build a career for life and to support those who make a difference. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for listening.